All right, everyone. Mr. Slaby here. I am the representative of the ELA global team that is interconnected because we're all kind of working on the same thing now. It's my job to introduce the introduction to the global essay. And I want to state this, that the essay introduction formula that I'm giving you today really works for any essay. You could use this in science, ELA, high school, college. Same formula. It's not very complicated. You probably have seen it before. We're just going to keep practicing. So the basic formula has three parts to this intro paragraph. All right. First is the hook. Right. You've heard that before. Attention getter, the grabber. All right. Two, background info, because your reader's dumb. And I don't mean that as a rip. I just means that your reader doesn't know what you know, and you have to introduce them into the topic so that they get a little bit of background, and then they're like, all right, I'll keep reading. If you just dive right into the topic, they're going to be like, dude, whoa, slow down. I don't know what you're talking about. I never heard of this topic. You got to warm me up a little bit. And then lastly is the thesis, which yesterday you worked with and saw in a video with Mr. Cush. Now, before I go continue, I want to be very clear that at this point, some of you be like, oh, I heard it, I'm done. No, go through the video. We know that some of you are watching 1 minute of the 5-minute videos in global. Don't see the point in that. What are you learning? What are you getting out of it? You're just like clicking, doing something else, and don't go do something else. Stay here. You're going to school, even if you're at home. All right. The hook. Okay. The hook is really important because it's the thing that gets the attention of the reader. And I use the analogy that's called the hook, and I say the hook like fishing, because if you've ever fished, you have to do what's called setting the hook. That means you got to pull the hook into the fish's mouth so that it catches. Otherwise, they'll spit it out and you never land the fish. That's the goal. The goal of an essay is to have someone read it and finish it. If your hook stinks, I could easily be like, this is stupid, and then never even go past you and your first paragraph. You're writing to have someone read it. That skill has never been more important in our lifetime. Written language is still crazily important, and you get judged for it all the time. All right, so right here you'll notice is a really small little icon. This is a still of, or a screenshot of one of the articles from this week, and I know that some of you aren't even reading the articles that we gave you every day. So here's the thing: I'm calling you out. If you were doing some work last week and you saw step 4, step 5, and it said read the article linked here that's related to global, and you said, oh, I don't have to do anything with that. Lazy. All right. Irresponsible and frankly a waste of time. Because here we are today. I know some of you are like, I don't know where the articles are. If you don't know where the articles are, then I know you didn't read it. All right. So I'm calling out that you've got to get through that. You got to understand that whatever we give you has value, and you got to follow through. We're not going to waste your time. We're not going to give you anything that's stupid. We're not going to give you anything that doesn't have value. If you decide that it doesn't, that's on you. All right. So anyway, this article was about how to control wildfires with practices based in the indigenous people of both Australia and America. So here's the thing. With this hook, right, there's some strategies. So I'm going to give you 3. And you've heard them before, or some of you have. Number 1, I like to start with a word-for-word quote directly from a source. I use quotation marks on either side of all the words in between that I lifted from somewhere else. They're not my words, they're another author's words. That's what this does when I say using a quote. It doesn't mean someone's talking. It just means a quote is word for word, copying from another source. And then you use a citation. So here's my example, all right? So if my hook is, Indigenous Australians have undertaken some form of cultural burning in their land for thousands of years. That thousands of years, that's kind of like a sort of shocking bit of information. So that's why I like the quote. Notice no period, no comma, quotation. Then I put the citation. I shortened the title of the article to California and Australia because I don't want to write the whole thing. And then I put a parentheses. There's no page numbers because it's an article. Period. Done. There's my hook. All right. Strategy number 2. If you don't have a good quote, then you can at least use some shocking statistic. And again, with a citation. So, for instance, droughts and fires are becoming more and more common on a planet that is warming up beyond our control. Right? That's kind of a shocking statement. End of the world. In a world with climate change. These are things that they're shocking. They're big. So they're a good hook. There's the same source, so I've cited it the same way. All right. Then my third strategy is use an imagine statement. Now, a lot of people have been told, why don't you do like a question, right? Ask your reader a question. No, we don't love that. That's lazy. It's too easy. We don't really want you asking questions because it sort of stops the flow. But instead, turn it into an imagine statement. So instead of saying, what if you lived in California, you smell smoke in the air most of the time? How about saying, imagine you live in California and you smell smoke in the air most of the time, and you have to wear a mask even after COVID-19 has been put down. That is a sucky situation. So your reader is like, whoa, that would be brutal. Tell me more. It's another hook. That's an imagine statement. All right, after you got your hook, now you got to get to work. All right, you got to let your reader, again, remember I said your reader is dumb. They're not. They just don't know what you know, and they don't know the topic's background, or you can't assume they do. Or if you want to like show them how much you know, you might hook them in and be like, hey, that person knows as much as I do. So you got to give some background, and you can't just do it in one sentence. So there's a couple strategies here, and I'll take this from the article that was on Friday. This was the homeless article in the mobile libraries. You could, one, lay down facts back to back to back with citations. You could do that. And this is what it sounds like. Family homelessness is a different problem than single person homelessness. Mobile libraries. Citation. Parents can be too busy trying to secure a place to live, looking for jobs, or dealing with other problems to provide their children with something to read. Another fact cited. Last year, there were over 500,000 people without a stable home in the United States, according to research gathered by the government. Another citation. Not so interesting, choppy, not great. It just happens to be like you could do that, and you can work on it, like making it better later. The better way to do it is to sort of really paraphrase. This is important. Is paraphrasing, true paraphrasing is understanding something and putting it into your words. And so I took all these facts, which are not copied, but they're pretty close to the original, and I rewrote it. So here's what it sounds like now. In America, homelessness is a problem that is different for families as opposed to individuals. For example, just getting a book to read is difficult for a parent when they are struggling to find housing, look for employment to pay for food and housing, and many other things. Just last year alone, government statistics show that over 500,000 people lived without housing situations they could count on. That's much more flowy, right? It's like one sentence leads into the other. That's still back to back, but it's more of a paraphrasing. Then lastly, honestly, the third strategy, or the third part, is the thesis, which you already have. This is really simple. So you just state the big idea that every quote or fact with support, is in your body, which we're not doing yet, but the big idea has to be there. So you already know how to do this. Here's a couple of examples. Homelessness is a major problem on a global scale. I could word it that way. I could sort of reverse it and say one of Earth's most important problems to deal with is homelessness. It's another way. And thirdly, homelessness is a globally relevant problem needing significant attention. There's no one right way to write a thesis, and you might look at the one you wrote for Thursday and be like, I'm going to tweak it. That's fine. That's the third part. Hook, background, thesis. You got yourself an intro. All right. So at this point, I'm going to direct you to the end of this. You're going to take a quick quiz on this, and we'll send you off, and you can move on to the next step, which might be the next day. It depends on where you're at. All right, cool. Good luck. Fire away some questions. We'll be giving feedback.